I reviewed Samson, I reviewed Gilgamesh, and finally, I reviewed Maddie. And now, somebody decided that it would be a good idea to create an insect to defeat the Indominus 2.0. Let's not waste any more time and get to it. How about the other hybrids transported to the island to try and take down the Indominus 2.0? Or they probably do not exist in this video. Great lore and newspaper stuff though, I'll give it. It's an incredibly captivating opening. I wonder how an insect could be able to defeat the Indominus 2.0. When it comes to the hybrid war, Gojo Seno said it's going to be 1v1, but I feel like an insect would not be able to defeat the Indominus 2.0 one-on-one unless there is a gigantic swarm of them. But let's see.
Hello everyone and welcome to Creature Archives. This episode we have a monumental task on our hands. A mysterious organization has engineered a nightmarish creature bent on death and destruction.
The Indominus 2.0's main objective is to kill all life forms, big and small, and cause a localized extinction event.
The Indominus 2.0. Somehow, it has started mass producing on its own, spreading across the islands of Isla Nublar and Isla Sorna, just off the coast of Costa Rica.
This is because of the whiptail lizard allowing the Indominus 2.0 to do apomictic parthenogenesis.
Right now they are isolated to the islands, but a series of strange diseases seem to be mutating and spreading across the islands with them.
I mean, Goji Center did want the Indominus 2.0 to be a localized extinction event, but they are going to be turning it into a global catastrophe and they acknowledge it. Sort of. Even though it's not really according to their plan.
Oh no!
These diseases are quickly crossing the species barrier, infecting mammals, reptiles, and birds alike.
This genuinely reminds me of Samson's introduction, which honestly, it's a good thing.
Our only hope is to create a hybrid capable of eliminating the amassing army of Indominuses and the infected creatures across the islands. Not only do we need to kill them all, but we need to destroy all of the diseases at its source.
Similar to Samson, where he has to cause an extinction event of his own to defeat the Indominus 2.0.
Before it can make it off the island, potentially leading to a global pandemic.
It is technically possible, given the Indominus 2.0's ability to swim, formerly thanks to the African dwarf crocodile and the theropods in its genome. One thing I like about this video is that the Indominus 2.0 is hand-drawn. Even though it's not the most accurate, I can at least appreciate the effort put into this design.
Time is of the essence, so we must create a hybrid not only capable of killing the army of Indominuses, but it must also be able to reproduce rapidly and have an urge to constantly expand across the islands and kill anything it comes across.
So basically, cause a localized extinction event of your own. Similar to how Samson does it, but instead of eating constantly, it's going to have to out-pandemic the Indominus 2.0. That is, if that makes any sense.
This will be no easy feat, but I believe nature has given us all of the tools we need to succeed.
Okay, it seems like all of them are invertebrates. This hybrid is definitely not going to the Hall of Shame as a result. So long as the hybrid remains congruent, of course.
Before we get into creating a hybrid capable of taking on this threat, we need to understand exactly what we're up against. This isn't just any hybrid we are facing. It is a walking extinction event.
Yes, honestly, perfect way of describing the Indominus 2.0. A walking extinction event.
The Indominus 2 is an apex predator, a genetic Frankenstein built from some of the most dangerous creatures to ever exist. Let's break it down.
Unfortunately, Indominus 2.0 does not use the Giganotosaurus. Instead, the Indominus 2.0's components are as follows: real-life T-Rex, real-life Velociraptor, cuttlefish, pit viper, the chimpanzee, Allosaurus annex, African dwarf crocodile, northern short-tailed shrew, and finally the whiptail lizard.
The biggest contributor to its DNA comes from the Tyrannosaurus rex. This provides its raw strength, durability, and an earth-shattering bite force exceeding 12,000 pounds per square inch.
As well as agility, because the T-Rex is used from real life, and real life T-Rex has that ilia which allows it to pivot around 180 degrees with just one leg.
This allows it to crush bone effortlessly, making escape from its jaws nearly impossible. Velociraptor genome enhances its intelligence, problem-solving abilities, and pack instincts.
The Velociraptor Goji Center use is from real life though, so it doesn't really have those Jurassic Park raptor perks. Man, what sort of evolution of English is this?
Raptors were among the smartest dinosaurs, capable of coordinated hunting strategies. The Indominus 2 doesn't just act on instinct, it can think, plan, and adapt to new threats on the fly.
Which is really thanks to the chimpanzee genome, adding to the brain of the Indominus 2.0.
It also inherits their speed, making it slightly faster than its massive frame would otherwise allow.
Not exactly true. Given the Indominus 2.0's size and T-Rex space, it's going to be quite hard for the Indominus 2.0 to reach faster than a JP Raptor,
The next genome comes from Giganotosaurus.
which Goji Center did not include. But to be fair, Goji Center only clarified that the Giganotosaurus was not used after I made an analysis video on the Indominus 2.0 itself. So, it's not this guy's fault.
Granting it sheer size, reaching 55 feet in length, 22 feet in height, and weighing around 10 tons. Unlike T-Rex, Giganotosaurus was built for taking down massive prey with powerful slashing bites.
In fact, the T-Rex had to hunt giant herbivores, especially hadrosaurs that dwarf the size of the puny Parasaurolophus from Jurassic World.
Giving the Indominus 2 the advantage of both a powerful bite and brutal cutting efficiency.
Okay, it's a fine speculation, although the Carcharodontosaur-like teeth would limit a T-Rex's biting capabilities.
Cuttlefish DNA grants the Indominus advanced chromatophores in its skin, giving it active camouflage. Unlike the basic color changing of chameleons, this ability allows it to blend into its environment instantly, rendering it nearly invisible at will, perfect for ambush attacks.
Well, the chameleon is also one of the reasons for Hank's downfall, and most chameleons reactively change colors to show emotion.
Pit viper grants it infrared vision. While many creatures rely on sight or smell, the Indominus can detect heat signatures in total darkness. This makes hiding from it almost impossible, no matter how well a target blends into its surroundings. Their body heat will give them away.
Unless if we're talking about cold-blooded animals like crocodilians, even though they aren't really an optimal build in taking down the Indominus 2.0.
Chimpanzee DNA.
Bro actually got that correct. Nice. I also speculated the chimpanzee as well.
Was added to enhance its agility and dexterity in its limbs. While dinosaurs had relatively stiff, straight limbs, chimpanzees have flexible, muscular arms with an incredible range of motion.
They're connected to the body via a ball socket joint, which means that they can whirl around quite a lot.
This means Indominus 2 doesn't just have powerful legs for running, it has near primate-like arm movement, making it incredibly dangerous in close combat.
And in combination with the air sacs, the Indominus 2.0 is able to viably pounce despite its mass of 11 tons.
It can grab, grapple, and even manipulate its environment in ways no normal dinosaur could.
The Indominus 2.0 can do so many things, not just pouncing, but also climbing, leaping, mounting, uprooting tree branches, ripping a leg off of a strong hybrid. There's so much the Indominus Rex can do. Well, if it's 2.0, of course.
Saurophagonax genome was added to enhance its claws. Saurophagonax was one of the largest Jurassic predators, known for its enormous slashing talons. Combined with the Indominus' size and dexterous limbs, these claws become devastating weapons, capable of gutting even armored prey.
I feel like you should have included a second of the video that clarifies that the Saurophagonax is now called the Allosaurus anax.
African dwarf crocodile DNA makes it even harder to kill. This small but heavily armored crocodilian has thick, reinforced scales resistant to bites and scratches.
It could only resist so much, though. Like, hippo DNA is enough to pierce through it. I used hippo in my hybrid, and Goji Center complimented on my hybrid's jaws.
The Indominus 2 takes this a step further. Its entire body is covered in these osteoderms, making it highly resistant to conventional attacks.
Exaggerating the Indominus 2.0's qualities can be a good thing when it comes to trying to defeat the Indominus 2.0 itself. It's always better to overestimate your opponent rather than underestimating it.
This, combined with its powerful swimming tail, gives it an unexpected advantage should a fight come to aquatic combat. In addition to this, crocodiles also possess natural resistance to various venoms, such as hemotoxins and cytotoxins.
What you do want to focus on is resistance to neurotoxin, which is the short-tailed shrew's venom composition.
But the real nightmare in this hybrid comes from an unexpected place, the northern short-tailed shrew.
Also, it is the largest red-toothed shrew. Just to let you know.
This tiny mammal contributes a couple of traits. First off, these shrews have the unique ability to infuse iron into their teeth, allowing them to never dull or break. When combined with the bite force of a T-Rex, this creates an unparalleled destructive bite.
The bite force alone is what kills a lot of competitors in the hybrid war. Even without venom, it's just absolutely insane bite force.
Shrews are also highly resistant to glycoprotein-based venoms, which are common in many types of snakes. The final genome added is what makes this situation not as simple as just taking out one Indominus.
In Goji Center's hybrid war, it's not really going to matter anyways, because it's a 1v1. However, I'm guessing you're trying to take down an entire ecosystem, so I guess pointing out the whiptail lizard is fine.
Whiptail lizard DNA grants an ability called parthenogenesis. This means that the Indominus doesn't need a mate to reproduce. It allows it to create clones of itself, effectively building an army of monsters with no limit to their numbers.
Well, technically yes, until there are not enough resources on the Earth for the Indominus 2.0, and then the Indominus 2.0 will slowly die out eventually.
That means we're dealing with a highly intelligent, strategic killer with full body armor, infrared vision, and an insatiable hunger. It's not just a predator, it's a disease vector, a biological weapon, and a self-replicating nightmare.
Is causing a global extinction event like the asteroid Goji Center's plan? No. But Goji Center just goes along with it anyways, because the Indominus 2.0 is, well, Indominus 2.0.
This was just a quick overview of this monstrous hybrid's capabilities, but I highly recommend you go and check out Goji Center's video for a more in-depth breakdown of this monster's ability, link in the description. Now that we understand the monster we're up against, it's time to design a hybrid that can not only challenge the Indominus 2, but completely eradicate its army before the infection spreads beyond the island.
In terms of insects, you're probably going to need a lot of them. A gigantic swarm of insects in order to even stand a chance. Because in the end, insects are incredibly small compared to the Indominus.
But how do you fight something with such raw power, intelligence, and adaptability? You don't fight it on its own terms. You create something that fights in a way it can't counter.
Keep in mind that the Indominus 2.0 isn't just any predator. It's absolutely an anomaly. Sort of.
Our first genetic blueprint doesn't come from a towering dinosaur, a monstrous reptile, or even a modern apex predator. It comes from a lineage of assassins that have dominated the skies for hundreds of millions of years. A creature so efficient at hunting that it holds a 97% hunting success rate, higher than any other animal that has ever lived. Meet the dragonfly.
Now, I have doubts about just an insect hybrid in general. Even though it can take down Indominus 2.0 in swarms, the dragonfly, you gotta keep in mind what the dragonfly hunts. They hunt live insects, stuff many times smaller than themselves. And the Indominus 2.0 is gigantic compared to dragonflies. Even if we size them up to something like a Meganeuropsis or Meganeura, I don't think the Indominus 2.0 would feel that much.
Nature's perfect killer. Now I know what you're thinking. You've lost your mind. But stick around because I think you'll find that the dragonfly will form the base for the perfect counter to the Indominus 2. More specifically, we will be using an ancient species of dragonfly that lived long before the dinosaurs, Meganeura.
Meganeuropsis is slightly bigger, but I'm gonna say that Meganeura is also fine, even though it's not really a dragonfly. It's more just a griffinfly, or incorrectly known as a giant dragonfly.
Those of you that have watched my Could Platypus Survive in the Carboniferous Period video may remember this creature. Meganeura was a prehistoric giant dragonfly that ruled the skies of the Carboniferous period, boasting a wingspan of 4.5 feet, a wingspan comparable to modern-day hawks.
You serious?
From what I remember, the wingspan didn't even reach 3 feet, so I don't know where you got that 4.5 feet estimate from.
But don't be fooled by its insectoid appearance. This was one of the most lethal predators to ever exist.
The thing about the Meganeura is that there really aren't any predators, so they would be kinda clueless against something much more gigantic.
Unlike birds or bats, which rely on up and down wing beats, Meganeura use independent wing control, allowing it to hover, strafe, and instantly change directions mid-flight. This means our hybrid will have unparalleled maneuverability, able to outmaneuver anything in the air, including the Indominus' snapping jaws and sweeping claws.
Problem is, we now gotta think of a way to actually inflict some damage to the Indominus 2.0. And also keep in mind that Indominus 2.0 has a strong immune system, like the original Indominus Rex, most likely.
Meganeura didn't just hunt, it calculated. With compound eyes containing thousands of lenses, it had nearly 360-degree vision and could detect even the slightest movement. This means no camouflage can fool it.
Okay, I'm guessing it relies on the sight, of course. You know, cuttlefish, camouflaging, to blend in its environment, of course. Any sort of color change, that's fair.
The Indominus' camouflage won't help. A Meganeura-based hybrid doesn't just see colors, it detects motion in a way no vertebrate predator can. Even the subtlest shifts in light and shadow will give away the Indominus' location. Even if our hybrid couldn't detect a camouflaged Indominus sneaking up on it, as soon as the Indominus attempted to strike our creature, it would quickly dodge out of the way thanks to its near instantaneous reflexes.
Size does kind of hinder the Meganeura a little bit, but I feel like the Meganeura could also be fast enough, given, well, it's still closely related to dragonflies, even though it's not really a dragonfly itself.
In modern day dragonflies, scientists have observed reaction speeds up to 50 milliseconds, more than 5 times faster than the average human. For comparison, at best the Indom 2 would have reflexes as good as a velociraptor.
Which is a decent speculation, given that the Indominus 2.0's size is kind of the reason why the Indominus 2.0's reflexes aren't really that great. Even with a short-tailed shrew, by the way. If the Indominus 2.0 were to have crazy reflexes, it would go... Sucks to be you, Indominus.
Which we could at best scale to that of a modern-day bird of prey, which is around 100 to 120 milliseconds. This means our hybrid would be at least twice as fast, if not likely faster, since the primary DNA in the Indominus 2 consists of large predators like T-Rex and Giganotosaurus.
You kind of have to account for the short-tailed shrew's reflexes being able to allow it to dodge a lot of attacks from other short-tailed shrews.
Don't get me wrong, these predators wouldn't be slouches in terms of reaction speed, but they would certainly be a far cry from the lightning-fast reflexes of a dragonfly.
Actually, now I wonder, how would other creators like Vividin join the hybrid war? It would be cool, you know? We've got Vividin, we've got Red Raptorites, we got Rick Raptor, we've even got Gaming Beaver. It would probably be the greatest event of all time. Even if the hybrid war competition ended, it would be nice to still see a lot of more well-known people just entering this competition.
Given all of this, our hybrid will be able to dodge attacks with ease. Even if Indominus lunges with its massive jaws or slashes with its Saurophagonix claws, our hybrid will react and reposition before it even completes a strike. However, there is a major challenge when using a large insect as the base for a modern-day hybrid. Giant insects don't exist today for a reason. Unlike vertebrates, insects rely on a passive tracheal system for respiration, which is far less efficient than lungs.
Goji Center already gave creators of those hybrids a lot of slack, because Goji Center just assumes that every single genetic hurdle would be bypassed, and the Meganeura, your hybrid would already bypass every single one of those genetic hurdles. So it could potentially exist if its contributors are meticulously added. Unlike Primatus Rex, who challenged Goji Center yet failed to defeat the Indominus 2.0.
This system functioned well in the oxygen-rich Carboniferous atmosphere, where there was oxygen of 35% compared to today's 21%, but in modern conditions, a full-size Meganeura would suffocate before it could even take flight. Fortunately, Jurassic World Dominion provides a solution. The film introduced genetically engineered giant locusts, demonstrating that Jurassic Park's advanced science would overcome these limitations.
Which basically means that this guy is going to begin adding the locust from Jurassic World Dominion into the Meganeura. Okay, smart choice. A flying insect with a flying insect. That's going to keep its congruity.
Whether through genetic modifications or artificial respiratory adaptations, the possibility exists. With the right bioengineering, Meganeura could take to the skies once again.
Problem is, every single genetic modification needs to have some sort of contributor one way or another. So, unless you want to end up in the Hall of Shame, then please back up your genetic modification with a contributor.
Meganeura's speed, maneuverability, and vision alone make it an ideal foundation for our hybrid, but we're just getting started. To take down a monster like Indominus 2, we need more than just aerial supremacy. We need the perfect weapon.
This is going to be quite interesting. Hopefully this guy doesn't screw it up just immediately.
And for that, we turn to another unlikely creature, one of the most horrifying venomous hunters of the deep. The geographer cone snail.
It's a mollusk. Okay. At least it's more compatible. And it's not really a vertebrate. Hopefully you actually add the Jurassic World Dominion locust.
This creature might not look like much, but don't be fooled. This little snail is a predator of nightmares. Its weapon? An insanely powerful and precise harpoon system that shoots venomous projectiles with the deadly accuracy of a sniper.
As long as it's carefully selected, then it could work. But then again, we're facing a gigantic creature in comparison, so it's going to be a bit less effective. We'll give this guy this. Using an insect is very, very creative and unorthodox, and I appreciate that. It's just not really the most practical way of defeating the Indominus 2.0, unless if it comes in swarms.
When it hunts, the geographer cone snail uses its specialized harpoon-like tooth to shoot a barb filled with venom directly into its prey, striking at speeds of up to 400 miles per hour. And this isn't just any venom, this is a concoction of neurotoxins and conotoxins.
Without treatment, a human can die from a simple geography cone snail sting.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
That paralyzes the nervous system almost instantly. It is essentially a living sniper rifle, capable of delivering a fatal blow from a distance with incredible precision.
Okay, now, this cone snail is also used in a hybrid called Liz, made by Death Song Gaming, aka Super Dinosaurs, and the hybrid did not go into the Hall of Shame. And even though it's an invertebrate mechanism working on a vertebrate, so props to that. This could work.
This harpoon launching ability in our hybrid would be further enhanced by the Meganeura's amazing eyesight. As one of the most accurate aerial hunters to ever exist, the Meganeura's vision allows it to track its target with pinpoint precision. Its large, multifaceted eyes give it the ability to track movement in the air and on the ground with both speed and accuracy.
Two creatures relying on accuracy is very good in terms of keeping the congruity. It's quite nice to see someone actually having a lot of discipline as well as Maddie, by the way.
This, combined with the harpoon launching ability of the geographer cone snail, creates a perfect synergy. Precision vision paired with a sniper-like strike delivering potent venom. Now you might be wondering, wait a minute, didn't you say the Indominus 2 has resistance to venom? And you would be absolutely correct, but here's the thing. The Indominus 2's resistance is mostly to glycoprotein venom. It wouldn't possess any resistance to neurotoxins or conotoxins.
Except that the short-tailed shrew is basically immune to its own toxin, which is neurotoxin. So that means the neurotoxin wouldn't be as effective here, because the Indominus 2.0 is immune to its own venom, which, in its case, is the short-tailed shrew's neurotoxin.
The exact type of venom found in the geographer cone snail. This means the harpoon's venom at a sufficient dose would still have a devastating effect on the Indominus.
Really, the only thing that it could genuinely affect the Indominus 2.0 is the conotoxin, which, then again, is incredibly potent,
paralyzing it and leaving it vulnerable to further attack. So, despite its powerful defenses, the Indominus 2 has no protection against this unique paralyzing weapon. For our hybrid, this harpoon launching ability is key. While the Indominus 2 boasts its devastating bite and enormous size, it has no defense against an attack that comes from a distance, delivered with such precision and lethality.
Have you forgotten about the sharpened metal pole? The Indominus 2.0 can just use a sharpened metal pole or an uprooted tree branch to bonk the hybrid. Even though its reflexes are incredible, the Indominus 2.0 will be able to catch it eventually.
It's the perfect weapon for a creature designed to take down even the most fearsome of opponents. Once struck, there's no escaping the paralysis that follows, leaving the Indominus vulnerable to follow-up attacks.
The battle ends when one creature dies, and the other manages to survive. There's really nothing that matters after the fight. The other one could die, but they could still technically win.
While the geographer cone snail's harpoon is an impressive weapon on its own, it wouldn't be enough to take down a creature as massive and resilient as the Indominus 2.
Correct. We're gonna need yet another creature. Hopefully, it would fix that issue.
To truly make our hybrid a force to be reckoned with, we need venom that can incapacitate a large target swiftly, and there's no venom quite like that than the inland taipans.
Hopefully, this vertebrate's toxin is meticulously added and just not blindly add the inland taipan, so hopefully it works.
The inland taipan is known for having the most potent venom of any land snake, and it's the secret ingredient to making our hybrid's venom even deadlier.
Unfortunately, though, it is a neurotoxin. I'm not sure whether the inland taipan could be resisted by Indominus's African dwarf croc DNA.
When it strikes, the venom quickly disrupts the prey's vital organ functions, shutting them down with terrifying speed. Here's how it works. Much like the cone snail, the inland taipan's venom is primarily a neurotoxin that attacks the nervous system.
I'm not entirely sure if an inland taipan's sheer amount of venom, sheer potency of venom, could overcome the resistance of the African dwarf croc.
Once it enters the bloodstream, it targets the brain and spinal cord, blocking neurotransmitters and impairing nerve function. This leads to paralysis, but the effects don't stop there. The venom also interferes with the function of the heart and lungs, causing rapid organ failure. The result is total paralysis, asphyxiation, and finally, death.
Which is kind of similar to cyanide, which inhibits aerobic respiration enzymes. More specifically, the cytochrome C oxidase. Basically, it does not allow oxygen to be used anymore in terms of respiration, so the cell can no longer aerobically produce ATP. I won't get into much detail because this video is not a chemistry lesson.
Inland taipan's DNA will also allow us to add more efficient venom glands into our hybrid, allowing it to produce and store more venom, which in turn will allow it to have more harpoons stocked with venom ready to fire. While the geographer cone snail's venom works to incapacitate the prey immediately after a hit, the inland taipan's potency ensures that every shot from the harpoon is even more effective, leading to certain death with a high enough dosage.
So, in turn, basically similar strategy to Maddie, which is basically a battle of attrition. But instead of basically being trained to go after the Indominus's eyes at first, this probably does not require training at all.
Now you may be rightfully wondering, but wouldn't a large creature like the 11-ton Indominus Rex need an absurd amount of venom to affect it? And while you would be right that it would require far more than it would for a human, that's why the inland taipan is such a crucial part of this hybrid.
Because one bite from the taipan would be able to kill around 100 fully grown humans.
The lethal dose 50 for inland taipan venom is 0.025 milligrams per kilogram. Given the Indominus Rex 2's estimated weight of 10,000 kilograms, the lethal dose required to kill 50% of Indominuses would be 250 milligrams.
You gotta take into account the Indominus 2.0's venom resistance. This is basically just assuming the Indominus 2.0 has the same venom resistance as mice, which the Indominus 2.0 has much higher venom resistance, so the 250 milligram estimate should be much higher.
With each harpoon delivering an estimated 500 milligrams of venom, just 1 or 2 harpoons would be more than enough to kill even the most robust Indominus. Now, while the harpoon launching system we've developed is undeniably powerful, there's a significant problem we need to address: the durability of the harpoons.
Okay, this guy definitely knows what he's doing. This guy is trying not to get hanked. This is okay.
Right now, the calcium carbonate-based harpoons we are using lack the necessary strength to effectively puncture the crocodilian reinforced hide of a creature like the Indominus Rex 2.
Okay, fair. To be fair, Liz did try and pierce through Indom 2.0 just blatantly with a cone snail. This is going to be less effective because it's smaller.
Even though they can be fired at incredibly high speeds, they simply don't have the material toughness required to ensure a deep enough strike to effectively deliver a venom. Much like the rest of our geonomes, our answer comes from an unexpected place: the limpet.
They are a group of mollusks. Once again, it doesn't really interfere with the bodily chemistry too much, as long as it's meticulously added, unlike Brock.
This small, unassuming marine creature has one of the most impressive natural tools in the animal kingdom: its teeth.
Ah, I see what you're trying to do with the limpet now. Okay, it does make sense, sort of. Okay, so far, this hybrid is a Meganeura base with the venom potency of the geographic cone snail and the inland taipan, and now it's going to make it more firm with the limpet teeth.
Nice.
The limpet's teeth is the hardest known biological material, and it plays a key role in our hybrid's harpoon design. The limpet's tooth is made up of a material called goethite. Goethite has a hardness of 5 to 5.5 on the Mohs hardness scale, significantly tougher than calcium carbonate and even iron.
It can't really compare to Samson's pyrite, but then again, it doesn't have to be extremely hard like pyrite can. This hybrid doesn't really have to use the scaly-footed gastropod.
By incorporating this tooth's material properties, we significantly enhance the strength of the harpoon. Now let's get into the specifics. Scaling up the harpoons to the size of our hybrid, the harpoons would be roughly 4 inches in length and between 0.08 to 0.2 inches in diameter, each capable of carrying up to 500 milligrams of our hybrid's venom. Thanks to the goethite enhanced harpoons, these harpoons are tough enough to penetrate even the most resilient hides. Now, originally I mentioned that these harpoons could travel at speeds of up to a crazy 400 miles per hour when fired underwater.
Keep in mind, keywords, fire underwater. This thing, if not careful, is going to get hanked once again because, pistol shrimp. Water physics and land physics are completely different. And one thing can't really supplement the other if they're both completely and fundamentally different.
However, in the air, there would be far less resistance, and the harpoons could likely reach even more insane speeds.
Liz didn't end up in a hall of shame, so this could potentially work. Unless if Liz also gets hanked.
Potentially upwards of 600 miles per hour. At this new speed, these harpoons would achieve an incredible kinetic energy of 1800 joules. With the goethite enhanced tips, and when fired at 600 miles per hour, they could penetrate up to 22 inches into the Indominus's hide, allowing it to inject venom directly into the Indominus's vital organs.
More like the blood vessels. Or I could be incredibly wrong here.
So, thanks to the limpet's incredible tooth material, the harpoons are now far more durable and lethal, ensuring that they can pierce through even the toughest defenses and hit where it counts. At this point, I am confident that our hybrid could, more often than not, win in a 1v1 versus an Indominus 2.
Now, I feel like you're underestimating the Indominus 2.0, especially in its venom resistance and all that. The Indominus 2.0 could probably win more times, but this is definitely a much better effort than a lot of the Hall of Shame submissions and a lot of submissions in general.
But we still have two major problems. First of all, this won't necessarily always be a 1v1. The Indominus 2's ability to self-replicate via parthenogenesis means there will be much more than one, and Velociraptor and Chimpanzee DNA means it is likely they will be hunting in packs.
Goji Center did clarify that when it comes to hybrid war submissions, it will be a 1v1. I'm guessing this is going to be not an actual hybrid war submission, given that it's going to have to defeat several Indominus 2.0.
In addition to this, we still have the issues of the diseases they are carrying. To solve both of these problems, there is one more creature that is the perfect final piece to complete our hybrid. For this final piece, we turn to one of the most relentless and organized creatures on the planet, the fire ant.
So, I'm assuming this Meganeura-based hybrid is going to have the fire ant contributing to its brain. Hopefully that is the case. It's probably the safest that way.
While our hybrid is already deadly, the fire ant contributes two crucial enhancements: the introduction of antimicrobial peptides and a complex social structure.
Yeah, it's going to have a social structure similar to that of an ant colony, right?
You useless, ungrateful maggot!
Jamie Olive Oil.
Antimicrobial peptides are potent compounds found in the fire ant's venom and body that help fight off any harmful diseases they come across. And when added to our hybrid's venom, it will allow the very venom that is killing the Indominus to also neutralize any harmful bacteria or viruses it might be carrying.
Ah, right, I forgot about the diseases of the Indominus 2.0. Using an invertebrate to combat diseases it's quite hard to think of an invertebrate, but okay.
But venom and disease control aren't the only things the fire ants bring to the table. Fire ants are known for their unparalleled aggression and their ability to work as a highly coordinated colony. This hive mind mentality is genetically integrated into our hybrid, giving it an innate drive to work together to expand and fight with its colony.
I wonder how an ant-style Meganeura colony would work. Because the Meganeura can fly and it's much bigger than a fire ant.
Instead of acting as a solitary predator, the hybrid will instinctively know how to approach threats like a group of fire ants would, cooperating and targeting everything in their path. This swarm-like behavior will give our hybrid the drive to expand across the island, viciously defending its new territory. The aggressive nature inherited from the fire ant ensures that the hybrid won't hesitate to pursue and kill any creature it sees.
Okay. For the colony, I guess. This is going to be another extinction event to combat an extinction event. Who will prevail? The Indominus 2.0 and the whiptail lizard stuff? Or this gigantic Meganeura fire ant colony thing?
No matter the size. This level of coordination and aggression makes the hybrid a potent force for the Indominus 2 to face, while also serving as an ecosystem purifier, actively eradicating any diseased creatures and pathogens from the environment.
It might have the side effect of also affecting healthy creatures because of its impact in the ecosystem. But anyways, let's just continue on with this video.
With the fire ant's influence, the hybrid becomes not only a powerful opponent, but a tactical and highly effective tool for ensuring that no disease survives in its wake. Now, let's meet the hybrid you've all been waiting for. Introducing Neurotoxa Thanatos.
This is a very unique hybrid, all things considered. It may not be the most optimal, like, for example, with Maddie, but it is definitely unique, and it could be in the honorable mentions, potentially, if it was submitted in the hybrid war.
The Neurotoxic Archer of Death, or as I have dubbed it, Apollyon.
I'm guessing it is the most popular insect hybrid in this hybrid war fiasco.
Apollyon is a small, agile hybrid designed with one goal in mind: to deliver a lethal strike with precision and efficiency. at 0.6 meters in length, a wingspan of 1.35 meters, and a weight of 1.5 pounds.
Well, those estimates would probably not make it in the honorable mentions. Hopefully it doesn't end up in the Hall of Shame. You know, it's kind of pushing the limits, but at the same time, it's not really upscaled like Samson is. So, okay. It's going to be a little bit of a dilemma, but we can get through that. This is a fantastically designed hybrid.
This hybrid may seem unassuming at first glance, but it packs a deadly punch that hits far, far above its weight class. Equipped with venomous harpoons capable of firing from the radula that extend from its mouth, Apollyon can strike from a distance, injecting a powerful blend of neurotoxins and conotoxins that ensure quick paralyzation and total organ failure not long after.
It's going to take a little bit of a long time. It's going to take basically just a battle of attrition at this point, because the Indominus 2.0 is immune to Shrew's neurotoxin, and neurotoxin, I have doubts about its effects on the Indominus 2.0 when applied by this guy. Conotoxins are very, very much fine though.
Each harpoon delivers 500 milligrams of venom, consisting of a custom cocktail of inland typin venom, cone snail venom, and fire ant venom. This lethal combination ensures that once an enemy is struck, escape is impossible. Apollyon, like fire ants, operates as a eusocial species with a complex hierarchy. But given the hybrid's aquatic influences, its social structure and reproductive cycle operate a bit differently.
Oh yeah, not to mention it can fly. Its structure is going to be similar to an ant colony, but eventually it's going to have to be different in order to function, because in the end, an ant colony cannot fly, and this can fly.
Apollyon colonies are made up of a queen, workers, soldiers, and nymphs, all working together to sustain the swarm.
I'm not sure if a 3-meter long dragonfly-like animal could actually fly, but I'm guessing it could because it bypassed every single genetic hurdle. Hopefully this will not put it in a Hall of Shame, and then it would just be not very worth it. The most common one would definitely be the worker, and the most plausible one is also definitely worker.
The queen lays her eggs in water similar to modern-day dragonflies, laying between 100 and 300 eggs per day. From egg to adulthood, it would take between 20 and 30 days for a given Apollyon to reach adulthood in the wild. The adult Apollons live in the trees above the water, their venomous harpoons poised to strike any threat to their young. Apollons would likely make their home nest in forested wetlands and still bodies of water, though they would travel miles in search of food to kill and bring back to their nest, tearing off chunks of flesh with their serrated jaws.
It's always good to see someone try and come up with an ecosystem that is suitable for their hybrid. For my hybrid, at least, my hybrid is a semi-aquatic creature that lives in pods similar to that of a hippo, except that it's in the body of a hadrosaur. So it's going to be a gigantic hippo, basically.
Apollon's life cycle is modeled after that of dragonflies, a species known for their aquatic beginnings. The nymphs start their lives in the water, where they are carnivorous and fiercely territorial. They hunt smaller prey, including insects, amphibians, and fish, using their agile aquatic bodies to ambush and subdue their meals.
Alright, fair enough. But I don't think I've heard of Meganura hunting fish before. But I guess this is just speculation at this point. So, okay.
These nymphs would also be equipped with venomous stingers that they would use to subdue their prey, though they do not fully develop their harpoon systems until adulthood. As they grow, they molt several times, shedding their exoskeletons as they mature. Much like dragonfly nymphs, the Apollyon nymphs undergo a final metamorphosis, crawling out of the water to undergo the transition to their adult form.
Now, I'm gonna ask you all in the comments, how well do you think this hybrid did? It's a very neat concept of an insect trying to defeat the Indominus 2.0, and having to work as a swarm of a colony to actually be able to defeat the Indominus 2.0 even further. This is quite nice.
The adults emerge from the water with fully developed wings and harpoon systems, ready to take to the air and hunt. The nymph nymphs, once confined to the water, now become airborne hunters, using their speed, precision, and venomous harpoons to strike from above. This life cycle offers Apollyon an incredible level of versatility. Not only are they adapted for aquatic hunting, but they can also hunt from the air, eliminating threats both in and out of the water.
So, now that I think about this hybrid, I feel like the only way that this hybrid can win against the Indominus 2.0 is if it's an overwhelming swarm. The Indominus 2.0 can try and punch and all that, but these Meganeura hybrids, they're going to have great enough reflexes to dodge the Indominus 2.0's attacks. The Indominus 2.0, being a big target, could try and dodge, but ultimately it would get hit by a lot of stings.
Some adults' full-time jobs are to stay at the nest guarding the queens and babies. The adults kill large predators, fish, frogs, and anything else that would threaten the queen's eggs or baby nymphs. Apollyon would not only bring meat back for the adults guarding the nest, but they would also drop chunks of chewed meat into the water for the voracious nymphs to feast on as they grow to adulthood. This hybrid is the perfect combination of speed, precision, and lethality. Apollyon is not meant to stand toe-to-toe in physical combat. Instead, it relies on its venomous arsenal, agility, and range to overcome much larger and stronger adversaries.
Now that I think about it, maybe in a one-on-one, this thing could also stand a chance. Of course, it's going to be terrible when it comes to facing humans, and it also broke the rules, meaning that it cannot be in Yoji Center's Hybrid War. However, if it were to follow every single rule, this not only is incredibly well designed, but also capable. This hybrid has just 5 contributors: the Meganeura, the Fire Ant, the the Geographer Cone Snail, the Limpet, and finally the I forgot, the Inland Taipan. This makes for a very congruent hybrid in general. 4 out of 5 are invertebrates.
Before we release the colony onto the islands and analyze how this fight would go down, be sure to like and subscribe if you are enjoying this video so far and would like to see more content like this. Now, let's dive back in.
So, basically, this guy created a scenario in which swarms of this hybrid just ultimately overwhelm the Indominus 2.0, and there's really not much they can do about it. They can kill every single creature, bringing the island back to the age of arthropods. Back to the Carboniferous, everyone.
It's a good thing our hybrid can't get off the islands, otherwise this could cause serious problems for the rest of the world. Wait. Oh no.
Oh. So now it's going to cause a extinction event across the globe. Not what this guy intended, I guess.
Oh no!
Now that we've successfully taken down the Indominus Rex 2 and have eliminated the plague that has spread across the island, what do you think? Could Apollyon truly wipe out the Queen of Beast army, or would it face challenges that haven't yet been considered? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this episode of Creature Archives and want to see more content like this, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay up to date on future content. Until next time, stay curious, and I'll see you all in the next video.
So, what is my verdict? Well, I have a little bit of doubts of if its venom could actually work. You know, shrews are immune to their own neurotoxins, and I'm not entirely sure about the Inland Taipan's neurotoxins. But this is a fantastic hybrid all around. It could defeat the Indominus 2.0, theoretically. One-on-one, not so much. And it also broke the rules of Goji Center's Hybrid War, like Samson. But, like, it's just going to be absolutely crazy. It's just fantastically designed, first off. The congruity of this animal is incredible. And finally, in a swarm, this is virtually unkillable. So, I can give props to this hybrid for its sheer strength and all that. The Fire Ant is the MVP here. Anyway, Thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one.